I'm going to do a different video today because I want to address a comment that I get a lot from time to time. Someone asked me, hey, can you make a video with the best settings to just watch the TV? Okay? SDR, HDR, Dolby Vision, what are the settings that you would recommend? And you might think that I have something, groundbreaking to share with you, something wild. Let's force BT 2020 on SDR to get wild colors. No, of course not. So the reason why I have so many settings for gaming is because the games are messed up, okay? But when the content is great, there are no settings, okay? Of course, there are settings. I'm gonna share with you the settings that I use. But what I mean is that there is no tweakings necessary. You don't have to do anything to get a great picture when the content is great. And of course, the problem I have with just watching the TV is that we have low resolution content. I mean, 720p sports, it's like nonsense. Like this 2023, it makes absolutely no sense to have cable at 720p, and they charge a ridiculous amount of money for that. That's just garbage. 720p content, that's like nonsense, okay? And we have low frame rate content, which is like, I do not see anything cinematic about 24 frames per second, okay? That's a stutter mess, in my opinion. But aside from that, okay, the picture quality, if you just watch a Blu-ray movie, is a HDR graded to 1000 nits or 4000 nits, whatever. The picture quality should be very good, and the settings that I would recommend are just normal settings, nothing wild. I'm not going to do any special tweakings. So let me share with you the settings that I would use. So basically, if you are using the internal apps of the TV, you don't have to worry. For example, you're using the YouTube app. You don't have to worry about the tone mapping setting or anything, because the TV is going to detect the max CLL of the content. So if the content is graded to be 1000, 2000, whatever, the TV is going to tone map accordingly. Okay, it's not the same when you're on the PC. There's no communication between the PC and the TV, so the TV is not receiving that metadata. The TV doesn't know what the HDR is trying to do. So then you have to manually go to that HDMI signaling override menu 11131111 and select master in pick max CLL to match the max CLL of the content. And how do you know that? You have to take a screenshot and open that screenshot with the HDR WCG image viewer app. I covered that extensively on the channel. But when you are using the internal apps, that's not necessary. Just select tone mapping off and you're going to get the best picture quality possible. Okay, the TV is going to do tone mapping and it's gonna look fantastic. So the settings that I would recommend are just normal settings. Just tone mapping off to watch the TV regular content and to watch movies. And I believe, I don't have a Blu-ray, but I believe the Blu-ray should be able to send the metadata. But just in case, if you know that the movie was mastered at 1000 nits or 4000 nits, go to the HDMI signaling override menu and make sure that the tone mapping is selected correctly, okay? So you get the best picture quality, okay? So now we go to the colors, color gamut, auto detect, color depth 55, okay? We do not have to force BT 2020 because that's the color space we are right now. HDR, color space, BT 2020, it is automatically selected, okay? So we select, color depth 55 because that's the default. There's no need to increase it. The color red is going to be clipping already. So if you increase this color depth even more, you're clipping the reds big time, okay? That's the problem we have with this WRGB OLEDs. The color red is gonna be clipping a lot sooner than any other color. So you do not want to increase and go wild with the colors, because then you're gonna be losing details, okay? The TV is not going to get more colorful than what it is right now, okay? When the color is that when the content is calling for those, for the most colorful colors, you're going to see them. Okay, that's it. So you don't have to increase that at all. Then you use the white balance in 150 to get the closest to D65 you can get out of the box. So now there are some TV sizes that the closest to D65 is gonna be different setting. I don't remember, it's the 77-inch, or I don't remember what size it is, that it has a different setting for the color temperature. It was like 42, something like that. I don't remember really. But that's it. That's it for HDR. And for Dolby Vision, you use tone mapping off too. Okay, Dolby Vision does its own thing, tone mapping off, and that's it. Let me play this again so I don't get. Let me play this, for example. So then for SDR, just use BT2020 for a dark room and Gamma 2.2 for a bright room. So now, my biggest recommendation would be to watch the TV in a dark room, okay? If you care about picture quality, you have to watch the TV in a dark room. A bright room is a no-go for picture quality. But if you want to watch SDR in a bright room, or you have no choice, then Gamma 2.2 for a dark room, BT1886 for SDR. And my recommendation is just max out the brightness, okay? Get the highest brightness you can get. That's it. So now for motion settings to watch sports, this is what I would do. I would go to the clarity settings. So this is HDR, for example. I would go to the clarity settings, and then I would use this true motion in user selection, and then just max out this de-judder and de-blur to 10 and OLED Motion Pro medium. So now you might say, oh, the soap opera effect is terrible. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's terrible. And from time to time, it just looks horrendous. But the reason why you would have to max out this to 10 is because if you don't do that, you are not getting 120 FPS. Okay? And if you don't get 120 FPS, this OLED Motion Pro medium is not going to improve the motion clarity at all. Okay? So if you want to use a lesser value, you have to turn off OLED Motion Pro. But if you use 10 and the content is at 24 or 30 FPS, the judder is working. If the content is 50 or 60 FPS, the blur is working, and it is going to increase the frame rate to 120 FPS with the soap opera effect. And then from 120 FPS, OLED Motion Pro medium is going to double the motion clarity. So it's going to look like 240 FPS. Okay? And that looks very good when it works. I don't want to play a video that's gonna be copyright here. So let me stop here. So that's it for the motion clarity settings. That's what I would recommend. So now we have other settings here for HDR that might be worth trying. A smooth gradation. That's something that I would recommend you to try, because a smooth gradation for HDR is going to remove almost completely any color banding. Okay? But now the problem is, if you use a smooth gradation on high, you're also gonna lose some fine details. Okay? So pick your poison. Maybe choose low, but I don't see low doing something worthwhile anyway. So what I would say is, if you see that the content is not very good and you see color banding, use a smooth gradation. Otherwise, just turn it off. And that's it. There's no secrets. I mean, when the content works, there's nothing to tweak. We have so many settings for gaming because the games are messed up, and because I'm trying to use black frame insertion and get the same picture quality as without it. And that's a very, 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 very tough thing to achieve. So you see smooth gradation, medium. I was trying medium. It was okay. But yeah, that's my biggest problem with regular content, that the low resolution and low FPS. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinion. If you have any question, sometimes I also just lower the brightness completely on SDR because I am about to go to sleep or I'm watching a cartoon. Like, I like to watch South Park. Okay. So I don't need 100, to max out the brightness to watch South Park. I just reduce it to a minimum. It's too bright. I don't need that. So yeah, it's also preference. But I do not have anything special to share with you. Now, when we are on the PC, then we do have to take the screenshot, know the max CLL for the HDR content, and change that mastering pick max CLL. But other than that, I don't see anything else I can share with you to improve the picture quality. The things that we can do is to check if the TV is crushing blacks, for example, just on SDR, to check that the TV is calibrated out of the box and it's not crushing blacks. So for example, the LG G3, the calibrators are saying that the TV is crushing blacks, and that needs to be fixed with calibration. Of course, it is in their best interest to calibrate the TV, but I don't believe they're gonna be lying about it just to get more people to calibrate the G3. But that is something that can be resolved with calibration, definitely. And if you pay a professional calibrator, you're gonna get the best results for sure. But if you don't want to pay for it, you can just fix it with a 22-point calibration, and you can just throw a rock and see if you hit the target. But you do your best using near black test patterns. You can come here to white balance, select 22-point calibration, and do something similar to what I did to get the visibility near black using black film insertion. You can start here at 2.5% signal level, and then I increase the brightness a little bit, or increase red, green, and blue a little bit evenly to just fix that near black. And of course, that takes a lot of work, but if you are patient and you use the near black test patterns that I share with you, you can get a good result. I'm gonna share again those near black test patterns here on the description of this video. So that would be something. Maybe you're getting a TV that is crushing blacks out of the box, which happens a lot. I know my LG C1 was definitely crushing blacks out of the box, and the TV needs to be used. It needs to break in, and then it's gonna crush less blacks. And right now my TV is just perfect. When it comes to near black visibility, it's just absolutely perfect. Like I can see everything that is supposed to be seen. But again, the G3 has that issue that can be resolved, or maybe you have a different C1. It is a panel to panel variant, and it is crushing some blacks, and something that you can fix with this 22-point calibration. So yeah, I cannot share with you a specific settings to fix that, because it depends on how much the TV is crushing. I don't want to give you some values here to just increase the visibility near black without knowing how much the TV is crushing. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'm gonna have the chance to not get my hands on the G3, but I'm gonna work with TKK. He has a G3 and S95C, so we're going to learn a lot about those TVs. I'm going to collaborate with TKK, and he has all those displays. So I'm gonna be sharing some things that I learned with that experience. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions. I don't have anything special to share, because there's no need to play around with the settings that much, just to watch regular content if the content is good. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you have any questions.